Hi folks, this is Vicki from patternprincess.com. Thank you so much for watching. Isn't this pretty, these colors on this yarn here? It's a very simple pattern to do. This is, it's just a table topper, and this table topper uses 2 skeins of yarn. It's Lion Brand Landscapes, and it's called Tropics. The yarn, it varies all by itself. When I did my first row, it was actually down here. When I did my first row, I actually wasn't sure how long I started. This is where I started, actually, over here, but I wasn't sure how long I was going to make it until I realized that my yarn was going to start to maybe turn color over here. So I made this 78 no chain double crochets long, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. The reason I did no chain double crochet is because this is going to be a centerpiece of a table. I wanted to make sure that this one side looked the same as the other side for the beginning stitches. So you know how when you end your crochet, it has the very nice crochet stitches at the top? Well, sometimes when you start a crochet section and you do the chain and then you put your stitches in it, that there can be a gap. There can be a little gap on the beginning chain, and it can kind of pull out, and it just does not look as finished as the ending row. So I use the no chain double crochet when I want to, sometimes when I want to put a border around something, I don't want that end to be like pulled out compared to the rest of the blanket. And in this case, I wanted to do the no chain double crochet just because I want both the beginning, and I know it's a little bit dark yarn and it's hard to see, but I wanted both the beginning and the end of the rows to look the same. Also, another technique I used on the edge here, I also did a chainless standing double crochet. Look at how nice and straight that edge is. So again, when I have this, you know, on the table, I want this to look nice. People are going to be sitting here staring at this if they're playing cards or sitting and having coffee. So I wanted it to look nice. I wanted the stitches to be even. I wanted, you know, I didn't have to do much for changing yarn colors except for changing the yarn. What I was able to get is 13 rows with the 78 no chain double crochet. I did 13 full rows with 1 skein, and then I got a half a row. And I think that here is where I switched yarn. And I didn't want to pull it all out because I really wanted to keep this teal color that was in here. So I ended up changing color in the middle of this row. I normally would have liked to have gone to the end and then changed color, but I thought it would mesh nice here because we had this orange color up here, and I thought it would blend in well, and I do think it blends in well here. So again, I did switch here, but I did have 13 full rows out of each skein and then a partial row out of each skein. So that's how this worked out. But I'm going to show you, I'll have the written directions, of course, on my website, but I wanted to quick show you, especially if you're a beginner, exactly how to do this. I'm just going to do a little swatch, but I want to show you how to do the no chain double crochet, and then also how I did the edges, and it's just a double crochet that I used. I used a size K hook, this big one right here, because I also wanted to have a little bit of a loose feel to it, a little bit of a nice loose flow. And I'm just thinking, double crochet across. Yes, I think that's all I had to tell you. So I'm going to put get my slip stitch going here. Now that's on my hook. So you're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And what that really counts as is a single crochet and a double crochet. So when you do this no chain double crochet that I'm going to do, it's really like having a single crochet row and a double crochet row right away. So I yarn over, I insert my hook into that first chain, yarn over. Now we have 3 loops on the hook. I'm going to yarn over, come through the first loop, that's my single crochet, yarn over, come through 2 loops, yarn over through 2 loops, yarn over, insert now my hook into the bottom 2 loops, which is that beginning single crochet, yarn over, bring it through, got those 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, come through 1 loop, yarn over, 2 loops, yarn over, 3 loops. I'm going to do it again. Yarn over. I'll do it a few more times here so that I can have a big enough swatch so you can see what I'm doing. Bring the loop through, yarn over, come through 1 loop, yarn over, come through 2 loops, yarn over, 2 loops, yarn over, put your hook in those bottom 2 loops. Sometimes it's a little hard to get in, but it'll come. So yarn over. Now you got your 3 loops again. Bring it through the first loop, yarn over second 2 loops, yarn over last 2 loops, yarn over. I'm going to do a few more here. There we go. And bring it through 1 and 2 and 2. And then I'm going to show you how this looks, because right now it looks a little bit like it's like not laying nice, right? Well, I guarantee you it's going to lay nice when I get this done here. It just, when you're working it and you're pulling on it, because at first, when I first was doing this, I thought I was doing it wrong as well. But then when I realized it's just how I was pulling on it that made it wonky. It straightens out very nice. So I'm not sure how many I have. See, now let me straighten that out. Doesn't that look nice? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 9 no chain double crochet. So your first row, if you did 70, I did 78, so I went back and forth, I went and did 78 of these. And this pattern here, because it's just double crochet, and because I'm using this method, there is no need. If you didn't want to use this method, you could do a chain of 78 plus 3, because then you would start in the 4th chain from the hook and then do your double crochets back. And then that would give you 78, the same count that I have. So I'm going to turn it, but because I'm doing this, there's no need to count, and there's no special stitches except for the double crochet, so you can make it wider or smaller by 1 stitch. So normally when you would go and start your next row with a double crochet, you would chain 3, 1, 2, 3. And if you didn't want to do the chainless standing double crochet, you could do this way too. It's okay. If you're a real beginner, this is how you may want to do it. So, and then you would yarn over, and then in the next stitch you would do your double crochet and bring it through 2 loops and 2 loops, and then you would continue on. But when you do it that way, a lot of times at first, where you just do your first chain, see how it's a little bit bigger gap right there? And that's okay, but I wanted to make sure that I could try and get that as close to looking like a regular double crochet as possible. So let me take this out. And here's a nice little method. Now, it does take some practice. I'm going to tell you to do it, because I may try and do it for you here and it may untangle, but I'll show you what can happen. So you bring your loop up to about the height that a double crochet would be. See that? So I made that a little bit bigger. And of course, remember, if you pull with your finger, you can make it bigger or smaller. So I made it a little bit bigger. Now I'm going to put my finger on this loop, and don't take it off till you're done with a stitch. Because if you do, okay, let's say right now I take it off. All I have is a twisted loop, and that's not what we want. So I'm going to put my yarn hook back in, put my finger on there, go around, and then I'm going to insert that hook right in the first 2 loops there, the very first 2 loops. Okay, yarn over, bring it back through. I'm still holding that loop. Sometimes it gets kind of hard. I should have used a smaller hook for this. All right, I bring it through 2 loops, my finger's still on that loop, and yarn over, and then through 2 loops. And there we have our no chain standing double crochet. And then I'm going to go on, and I'm going to do a couple double crochets here. And then you can see how it looks. See how that looks a little bit closer? It looks the same. So it's just a nice way to do that stitch. And so when I worked this little table topper, that's what I did. And I'm going to double crochet across. So I yarn over, put my hook in, grab the yarn, bring it through, and go through 2 loops and 2 loops. So that's a double crochet. And the only time that you do your chainless standing double crochet is at the beginning of a row. It's not something I would do in the row. I think it would be a little hard to do it every single row, every single stitch. So And I gotta get my hook in there. All right. And I'm gonna do it one more time here. But this is all I did. I just went back and forth with the double crochet, and you know, it just, until I ran out of yarn, pretty much. So again, make the loop a little bit bigger, and then bring it around, go through the first 2 loops, yarn over, keep holding that loop, yarn over, bring it through 2 loops, and then the last 2 loops, and you got the next chainless standing double crochet done. And you just continue right on. And this, along paired with a pretty yarn like that, this is just a simple beginner table topper. It's a nice way to learn how to practice your stitches. It's a nice way to learn how to get even stitches. So don't be afraid to give this one a try. I had to stick my hook in the last stitch there. So see how nice that looks? See how even it looks? And then just those little bitty nuances will make your work look very pretty. And so here's my edges. See my edges? And then my other part where I did my no chain double crochet, that looks really nice too. No big gaps. So I will have the written pattern on my website. Please make sure you come and check it out. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.